Oh, Warriors, it's your Wing First Sergeant, Senior Master Sergeant Sean Sullivan here. This is going to be the first First Sergeants podcast. Today I have some of my esteemed colleagues and former colleagues. Going to start with our MSG First Sergeant.
The MSG First Sergeant, Salam Harris.
212th EIS First Sergeant, Sergeant Kevin Kelly.
Command Post Superintendent Chief Fallow, former Med Group First Sergeant.
Today we want to talk to you about the exact roles and responsibilities of what First Sergeants do, how all of us got into the First Sergeant field, and exactly where you can go from being a First Sergeant. So I'd like to start with the perspective of the Chief, seeing that the Chief was a First Sergeant and how she got into the career field and how it helped develop her career. Chief?
Thanks, Sully. I actually was kind of stagnant in my position in the command post. I was trying to move up to the superintendent position. As a superintendent, I would have made senior. So I was stuck at master, and we had lost our planes, and the command post was not as interesting as it used to be. So somebody gave me the crazy idea to become a First Sergeant, and I looked into it, and lucky me, I was hired as the Med Group First Sergeant under Colonel McCarthy and moved into that position, and I sat there for about a year and 2 years, I would say. And then, thankfully, Colonel McCarthy put me in for a step promotion to senior, so I made Senior Master Sergeant while I was a First Sergeant. That also required me to find a home once I left the First Sergeant position. And then I moved on to the IG office, came back to my roots in the command post, and was step promoted to chief a year and a half ago.
Sergeant Harris?
So me, I was in the Intel Support Squadron doing IT, and I love my job, doing cyber, but I also wanted something a little bit more challenging. I wanted more of a leadership role. So I applied for the First Sergeant position over at the Med Group, actually, as Sergeant Fallow left. So I applied for that position, got it, loved it because I'm taking care of, our airmen, doing the right thing, being a mentor, trying to help them progress in their career. Same thing I had, from my, prior leaders that I had helped me, and I just wanted to return that favor as well. And then eventually got the opportunity to move over to the Mission Support Group. Sully and Chief W came and visited me and said, hey, we got an opportunity for you, and ran with it and loved it, and just looking for the next thing.
Good. Kelly?
So I came up through my unit, the 212th, and I really hadn't thought about it. I'd been an installer in radar. When we lost that, I went into logistics, and then during a deployment, I don't know. I was kind of almost acting as a First Sergeant for our guys. I never knew I was doing it, just checking in on making sure everybody was good. And a couple guys said, "Oh, you'd probably be pretty good at that." So when I came back, we started up an additional duty First Sergeant class. I volunteered for that and realized I really liked what I was going to be doing. So when my predecessor, Senior Master Sergeant Hernandez, moved on, I applied and was selected by Colonel Lewandowski and have enjoyed it ever since.
And my story is similar to everybody else's. I was with the 267, where it was a combat comm. Ground safety, one deep shop, tapped out as a tech sergeant, was happy there. Was provided an opportunity to apply for and become a First Sergeant over at the IS and gravitated to the Wing First Sergeant. And the reason I bring up our personal histories for everybody to understand is to see that everybody that is here on this panel was doing something that they liked and they really enjoyed, but they had a calling to do something a little bit more, and that's almost what a First Sergeant position is. If you are out there right now listening to this podcast and you're a staff sergeant trying to develop yourself to the next step, or a tech sergeant that is looking for the next thing to do, then I would advise you to start seeking out the responsibilities of an additional duty First Sergeant and eventually becoming a First Sergeant. And here's why. There is no other job that you can have as an enlisted person, aside from maybe being a group superintendent or a command chief, that will provide you with the ability to see the entire strategic vision of your squadron or your unit, and to allow you to be a total force multiplier, just by virtue of the position. People have a common misunderstanding that a first sergeant's a party planner and we're there to hand out drug letters. It is absolutely not that. We are involved in every decision-making process that a commander has. We run side by side with your group chiefs or your squadron chief, or in my case, the command chief, and we honestly and truly are force multipliers for your squadron, for your group, and for your wing. It is the most demanding, yet the most rewarding thing that you can do. So if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, geez, I'm looking at my career, I'm stagnating, or I feel like I could contribute more to my unit, but based on my AFSC or my current role, I'm kind of at that standstill, then I say apply for and board for a first sergeant position. Do any or all of you agree with that?
I would agree, but I would also interject, if you have reached a point in your career where you've made master, but you're starting to be bored in your current position, and you're now counting down to when you can retire, think about being a first sergeant. I did it, and it reinvigorated my career, and I've now tacked on another 12 years of my career that I would have never done if I had not become a first sergeant. It was such an amazing experience, and you literally go into something that you are now have to be responsible for care and feeding and career growth for a whole entire unit, and it's a pretty amazing task, and it opens your eyes to so many different challenges.
No, I'd have to agree. I definitely agree with Sally, like on the part of, it's the most rewarding position I'd have to ever say in my career. I've never been superintendent or anything like that, but being a first sergeant, I'm telling you, it's so rewarding, but it is a very challenging position. So if you're thinking that it's going to be a position where you just sit back and you don't have to do anything when you come in on a drill weekend, or even when you're not here on a drill weekend, you'll be mistaken, and maybe that's not a position for you. But it's definitely a challenging position. But in the end, when you see the outcome of how your airman has been taken care of, or them move up the ladder, and you see their career progression, that's when you get that reward, that rewarding feeling back to the first sergeant.
Taking care of people is the best part of it, and to Sergeant Harris's point, it's a 24/7 job. You're available all the time, and but the reward that you get when you take care of somebody is a big part. And I mean, what's the saying? People are our business. That's kind of the motto, and that's what we do.
You are a mentor, a motivator, a confidant, a force multiplier, providing sage advice for your commanders. I mean, it is the single most rewarding position. And for growth opportunities, just take a look around the wing. We currently have 4 chief master sergeants. Well, one select hasn't put it on yet, hasn't put chief on yet, that were former first sergeants. We have multiple senior master sergeant superintendents. Our new HRA was a first sergeant. If you are looking to groom yourself for a leadership billet or advancement, and you enjoy taking care of your people, and you enjoy being out there and on the front line, and really being the glue that can hold everything together, if that's your personality type, or you think you are up for that challenge, then seek out the next first sergeant responsibility. And I urge all of you to get to know your first sergeants. We try to get out there and meet every single one of our people. For some of us, it's easy. I have the wing staff. It's a very small group. But Sergeant Harris has the entire MSG group. But when you see us and you see that diamond on there, come talk to us. And if you're interested in a developmental opportunity, we are always looking for additional duty for sergeants, master sergeants and tech sergeants that are looking to fill the role of the additional duty first sergeant and really help out. It's a really great growth opportunity for those of you who enjoy what you do and you don't quite want to put the diamond on yet. We don't really have too much more to go on. Closing remarks, anybody?
I will just say that despite the fact that we are a guard unit, and you think, oh, we're just 1 week in a month, no, as a first sergeant, you are 24/7. They've said it earlier, but I reiterate the fact you are 24/7. Do not think that your job stops Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, because it does not. You have a whole entire enlisted force that relies on you for advice, for intervention, and you are approachable and reachable to them, so you just have to bear that in mind. But The opportunities you also get for career development and growth is amazing. Public speaking, giving awards, writing rank progression tools, things like that. It's amazing as a first sergeant, and I think it's probably the best opportunity you could get to broaden your career at the lower enlisted grades.
Can't agree more, Chief. And like we said, if you're interested in this position, definitely talk to your first sergeant, or even if you don't feel comfortable talking to your first sergeant, talk to another first sergeant that's in the wing and hear their perspective of it and see if they can help you get into that position.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. As far as the dedication that it takes, the commitment, but also the reward. And we've talked about the additional duty. Go to your shirt and see if they're looking for an additional duty. See if there's a class. We run them, every few years, and it's a great way to get your feet wet and to really see what we do, and whether it's for you or not.
Everybody's always looking to leave a legacy, and I look back at every first sergeant I've had. I've been in 3 branches of the service. I've had multiple AFSCs and MOSs, and I can look back and remember every single first sergeant I ever had because they made a lasting impact on me. Some good, some not so good. We prefer to leave the good lasting impacts. But if you want to be able to change somebody's life and give them your undivided attention for 15 minutes to help them solve something, they will never forget you. That's the legacy that we should leave behind for our airmen. So with that, in closing, this was our first Sergeant podcast. We'll talk to you next month. Have a great 102nd day.